Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to jump into the philosophy behind a book called Combat Conditioning by Matt Fury. It's an approach that totally challenges what most of us think of as fitness, and it does it using nothing but your own body weight. Pretty cool, right? All right, so to get us started, the book just throws a few questions right at you. They're designed to make you really think about your own fitness, outside of what you do in the gym. Let's see if any of these resonate. Okay, first one up, it's a super simple, practical test. The whole idea here is that real conditioning, true fitness, isn't really about how much you can lift on a weight rack. It's about what shows up in your day-to-day life. So think about it. Is your strength actually functional? Now, this next one is kind of counterintuitive. The book suggests that if you're feeling sore all the time, even when you haven't been exercising, it might not be because you're overdoing it. It could actually be the opposite. A sign that you're missing some proper foundational conditioning. Weird, huh? And here it is. This is the big one, the benchmark, the real challenge, this very specific number for this very specific exercise. It's like a secret key. It's an indicator of a whole different kind of strength and endurance that we're about to get into. It's a whole new way to measure power. So if any of those questions kind of hit home for you, the book's argument is that it's probably because of a flawed approach to fitness. And that's exactly where the author, Matt Fury, found himself. He realized his own training just wasn't cutting it. See, Fury was a top-tier wrestler, a serious athlete, but he discovered that all the traditional bodybuilding stuff, the barbells, the dumbbells, the machines, it just didn't translate. It didn't give him the real-world strength and endurance he actually needed on the mat. It's like he was building a car that looked super fast, but had absolutely no engine. And this chart here, it just lays it all out perfectly. It's the core difference. On one hand, you've got what the book calls showy muscles. They might look great, but they're often tight, stiff, and surprisingly, they have terrible endurance. But on the other side, you've got functional fitness, and that's where strength, flexibility, and lung power all come together into one practical, powerful unit. So Fury's on this quest, right? He's looking for that functional strength. And it leads him away from all the modern gyms and instead toward this legendary figure, someone who held the secrets to an older, almost forgotten kind of physical wisdom. And this is the man, Karl Gotch. I mean, look at him, a former Olympian, a true wrestling legend, especially over in Japan. Now get this, when Fury met him, Gotch was 75 years old, and he was about to give this young, champion athlete a massive reality check. Can you imagine that moment? Just wow. Here's Fury, a world-class athlete in his prime, and he suddenly realizes his strength is totally superficial. Gotch showed him that true conditioning had nothing to do with how big your individual muscles were. It was all about integrated, flexible, and truly enduring power. So you're probably wondering, what was Gotch's big secret? Was it some super complicated system? Nope, not at all. It was a foundation built on just three powerful bodyweight exercises. And the book gives them a pretty cool name, the Royal Court. First up in this Royal Court is the Hindu squat. Now, this is not your typical squat you'd see at the gym. Forget about that. The goal here is all about high repetitions. We're talking hundreds, maybe even thousands. And it's not just to build leg strength, it's to build insane lung power and endurance. Okay, now look at the motion here. You see how fluid that is? It's not rigid at all. The arms swing way back to give you momentum, and you actually rise up onto your toes at the top of the movement. It's this full-body, rhythmic thing, and it's all designed for explosive power, not for slow, heavy lifting. All right, next up, the Hindu push-up. And again, this is a whole different animal from your standard military-style push-up. The real genius of this exercise is how it combines upper body strength with a really dynamic stretch. Just look at that movement. It's like a dive bomber, right? You start with your hips way up in the air, you swoop your chest down close to the floor, and then you press up while arching your back. And the book makes a pretty bold claim that even guys who can bench press 400 pounds will have a tough time doing just 25 of these. Why? Because it forces your body to work as one connected, flexible unit. And finally, we come to the king of the Royal Court, the back bridge. This one is presented as the single most important exercise in the whole system, but it's also probably the most misunderstood. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This looks intense. And the book knows that too. It jumps right in to address that common fear that bridging is bad for your neck. It actually argues the total opposite is true, as long as you do it correctly. The whole key is to distribute the weight across your entire body, arch the spine, and rest on your forehead. The goal is to build a super powerful, flexible, and, yes, injury-resistant back and neck.
So let's say you commit to this philosophy. You start practicing these 3 core exercises. What happens? What are the results you can expect?
Well, the promised benefits are pretty holistic. It's not just about getting stronger in a vague sense. We're talking about a stronger back and neck, better sleep, improved circulation, even sharper mental focus. And maybe the best part of all? It's a program you can do literally anywhere. No gym, no equipment needed. The book is also full of testimonials that really drive home this idea of functional, real-world application. Like this one, from a PhD who's also a scientist. He says that these simple bodyweight calisthenics did more for his balance, agility, and endurance than anything else he'd ever tried. And it's not just for martial artists or wrestlers either. This quote here is from a strength coach for the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL. He calls this classical approach rock solid. I mean, that just goes to show you that this kind of wisdom is totally timeless and works even at the highest levels of professional sports. When you really boil it down, the heart of this whole philosophy is just consistency. The book makes a great analogy. It says exercise should be like brushing your teeth. It's just a daily duty you perform to maintain your health. Think about it. Animals in the wild, they don't take rest days. For them, movement is life. The goal is to bring a little bit of that principle back into our own lives. And that really brings us to the final big question that this whole philosophy leaves you with. It's a provocative one. It really forces you to look past the mirror and ask yourself, what is the true point of fitness? Is it about building a body that just looks good? Or is it about building a body that can actually do things? A body that can perform, endure, and serve you well for your entire life?